Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to present the Cisco ASA, exploiting a small leak in the grid ship. I'm Kaiyi. I'm from DBAPP Security, working in the DBAPP Security Head Lab. We are major in exploiting the network devices and pen testing web applications. Today our target is Cisco ASA, and we will introduce a vulnerability we found in the Cisco ASA, as well as propose a technique to exploit the Cisco ASA in the latest version. This is our agenda. First, we will introduce what Cisco ASA is, and then we will introduce how to hunt in Cisco ASA. After that, we will also introduce how to exploit the vulnerable we found in Cisco ASA. At last, of course, we will discuss how to patch the vulnerables. So what is Cisco ASA? As the wiki says, Cisco ASA is one of the most widely used VPN solutions for small to medium businesses. Actually, Cisco ASA is just such a small box with several internet functions enabled. Comparing to Cisco ASA to Cisco iOS, they have the similar interface and functions. However, the system arch is totally different. Cisco ASA is based on x86, and Cisco iOS is based on other system arch. In another word, Cisco ASA can be said as a very big binary named Lena running on the normal Linux. The Lena is the main process, including most services, including WebVPN, ASDM, SMP, and others. The binary is very big, about more than 18 MB, and the IDA analysis file is also very big, more than 900, which makes it really different for us to analyze it. However, we will discuss later how to hunt it in such a bigger code. The second feature of the Cisco ASA is that there is a process named Lena monitor to monitor the Lena status. The Lena monitor will try to check the Cisco's calling Lena and monitor the sub-process fault in Lena. The Lena monitor will send segment faults and reboot the whole devices once any rule triggered. So it can be said that the Lena monitor is one of the protect mechanisms in Cisco ASA. This is a screenshot of Lena monitor. Here we also will discuss how to bypass Lena monitor and try to exploit the whole Cisco's. Another feature of Cisco is the network. All the traffic are blocked by the kernel of Cisco ASA, except those generated by the Lena. So what it means that when we got a shell and ping the gateway like this, it will show the network is unreachable. So the traditional way to pop a shell like bin sh is never available here. We will try to search some other ways to pop a shell. A lot of research has already been done against Cisco ASA in the last 3 years. Xdoors Intel disclosed a heap overflow in IKE Cisco fragmentations, which was rewarded as the best server-side bug in Pwnie 2017. This bug was successfully turn into an exploit based on a lack of non-execution memory and non-ASLR protection in the previous version of Cisco ASA. Another security flaw in the WebVPN features was reported in 2018. This was a pre-auth vulnerabilities, and it's a double-free vulnerabilities. However, it was demonstrated in the Recon in 2018, also in the environment of non-execution memory and non-ASLR protections. In 2017, The shadow brokers reveal the existence of two exploits against Cisco ASAs called EPICBANANA and EXTRABACON, all of which only affect only Cisco ASA version before 900. However, according to the study of the NCC group, all the protection mechanism has already been enabled, including PIE, ASLR, and NX. This is a table from NCC group. So it means that there are not any public exploit, as far as I know, remain available. This is a picture from check set result in the current version of Linux. We can find that NX and PIE has enabled. And the below picture is the process mappings in the Cisco ASA. The library address and the stack address are randomized, so ASLR is also enabled here. So where is the leak of the ship? Actually, the vulnerable we found lie in the WebVPN Connect service. ASA provides a security mobility client as well as the web interface to access WebVPN. The above picture is a security mobility client, and the below two are web interface. After reversing the whole Linux binary, we found that the WebVPN is written in Lua, and the whole Lua compiler is embedded in the binary Linux. From the picture Lua open base, we can find that the Lua version is 5.0.2, which is a very old version. More importantly, we found that all the Lua source code and Lua bytecode is available in the Linux binary. The above picture is an example of Lua source code. This picture is a list of Lua source code, and this picture is one example of Lua bytecode. The Linux uses a function aware WebVPN content to init WebVPN service, which routes the URL to specific Lua files. This is a really huge function. After reversing, we found that all the URL path is defined in such structures. In the offset 17 is the address of Lua files, and in the offset 24 is the address of Lua file length, and in the offset 40 is the Lua file name. It's a really huge function, so we write some script to dump all the Lua source code and bytecode. For the Lua bytecode, it's really easy to decompile it. We just use some public script to do these things, and after all, we got about 130 Lua files with more than 50,000 Lua code lines. It's really a hard work for us to audit. We audit for several weeks, and we got vulnerables like this. We got an arbitrary file read. We got arbitrary Lua execute. However, arbitrary Lua execute require user permission. For the response disclosed process, the detail to trigger Lua execute will not be covered here. However, this is the effect when we execute such Lua code, and the AAA will be printed in the terminal of Cisco. This is not the end of story. When we needed arbitrary code execute, here is just arbitrary Lua execution. Our story starts from here. From arbitrary Lua execution to arbitrary code execution, maybe we need some function like popen execute. However, after reversing the whole Lua compiler, we found that there are several constraints in the sandbox. The functions are limited, and none of sensitive functions are available in here. You can see from here the execute is not, and the popen is not supported. Nevertheless, there is always a way out. The function load string left. We know that in the Lua, the function string dump is to transform Lua code to Lua bytecode, while load string is to load the Lua bytecode and execute the Lua bytecode. So it's very important for us It means that if we construct some Lua bytecode and load it by the load string, then we can execute our own Lua bytecode. So, which means this is the arbitrary Lua bytecode control. Then how to construct some Lua bytecode? We need to get a base knowledge of Lua bytecode, Lua internal and Lua internal. This is a simple example. For I equal to 1 to 10, and the step is 1, and this is a loop and prints the value of I, and the right picture is the bytecode after compiled. Before we get on the standard bytecode, we need to have a look at these OP code. The first OP code we need to know is load k. As its name, load k is to load a variable to stack. There are two parameters of load k. The first parameter is the index in the stack, and the second parameter is the index in the const table. The jump OP code is to jump to the offset of the second parameter, and the for prep OP code is very similar to the jump OP code, and usually recognized as the start of the loop in an older version of Lua. For loop is another very important OP code in Lua. The for loop OP code uses 3 values in the stack as the initial value, limit value, and the step value. And the for loop is always used as the end of the loop. So in this bytecode, we can find that the first 3 load k load the initial value, limit value, and the step value to the stack. And the jump is to jump to the for loop. And the bytecode between jump and the for loop is the body of the loop. So this is the basic knowledge of Lua internal. Another thing is that we know different Lua version differs a lot in Lua. So in Cisco ASA, the version is 5.0.2, which is released in 2004, which about 15 years ago, a really old version. Another interesting feature is that Lua used to have a bytecode verifier, but abandoned after Lua 5.2 due to the need for speed or other reasons. So it can be said that it is more difficult to execute arbitrary Lua bytecode in an old version like 5.0.2 in Cisco because of the existence of Lua bytecode verifier. So what is Lua bytecode verifier is? Actually, it's just 2 switch cases. In the first switch case, it checks for each. There are several type of OP code, and for each type of OP code, it checks its parameters. And in the second switch case, the bytecode verifier checks every OP code's parameters to check whether their parameters are out of bound. Actually, there is 2 types of public attack against the Lua bytecode verifier. The first one is the index out of bound in load k. As mentioned previously, the second parameter of load k is the index in the const table, and this out of bound can be used to load an arbitrary address to the stack, then attack the Lua bytecode verifier. However, this out of bound in load k is not available in 5.0.2. We can see from the Lua internal code, the load k is the type of IABX type, and for IABX type, in the first switch case, it will go to the second parameter of the IABX type and check whether it's bigger than the count of const table. So it's not available here. Another attack is the for loop type confusion. For loop type, the detail of the type confusion can be referenced from this link. And sadly, it doesn't work as well. We can have a look at this code. In this case, for loop, it just checks the 3 parameters he used and limits the parameter to the number type. So here is not available, very sadly. No public exploit available here. We need to hunt for a new escape. However, luckily, we really found one escape here. This is out of bound in for prep. As mentioned previously, for prep is to jump to PC to the relative offset, and which was used at the start of the loop in an old version. It can jump to PC to the parameter, the second parameter. And the for prep is the IASBX type. It's shown in the first picture. And for IASBX type, there is no check in the first switch case of Lua bytecode verifier. And in the second switch case, there are also no checks here. So we can use the vulnerable OP code for prep to jump to arbitrary PC in Lua VM. This is arbitrary PC control in Lua VM. Here we already control the arbitrary PC in Lua VM. The next step is to turn this arbitrary PC in Lua VM to the arbitrary code execution. We try to exploit it in Lua 5.0.2 in Ubuntu 16.04 first. To achieve the arbitrary code execute, maybe we need to arbitrary address read and arbitrary address write first. And to read arbitrary address, we take this for a simple example. The first picture is a very simple 3-line Lua. Assign null to an A and assign 1 to variable B, assign 2 to variable C. And below it is the bytecode. The first 2 bytecode is load a null to the stack and set the null to the global. It is a variable A. And the third parameter, the third OP code is to load a variable from stack and set it to global, set it to the variable B. And after that is load K and set global C. After that, at last, is the return the function. So it is a bytecode compiled by Lua. There are several chunks we need to know about the Lua internal. We know that every time we call a function, Lua will try to allocate several chunks, including first PC trunk. PC trunk contains several OP code, and this is a layout of PC trunk in GDB. After that is a table, and from 0 to 0x14 is Linux heap metadata, and per PC trunk is 8 byte size. This is PC trunk. Another trunk is a constant trunk. Constant trunk contains the const table, and in the const table there are a list of const, and each const is a type Lua T object. And the definition of Lua T object is in this picture. And we can see that this type is 17 bytes, and the first 8 bytes of this structure is its type, and the next 8 bytes is its value. To read arbitrary address, we need to solve these 3 questions. First, how do you control some trunks? And if we control some trunks, we can put our data in these trunks. And the second is, where is our control trunk and where is our current Lua PC? Because the vulnerable OP code for prep uses a relative offset to jump, and we need to know the distance between Lua PC and our control trunks. To solve these questions one by one, we first introduce one trick in Lua. We can use this trick to info leak a heap address in the heap. leak a heap address. First, we assign an empty table to variable A and print the result of two string. The two string will try to turn the empty table to the string type, then it will print out the table address. And in this table address, from the GDB layout, we can find the size of this table address is 0x50, and below it is the definition of table. So the size 0x50 is very important here. We know that in the glibc heap, the size 0x50 is in the first bin, which is LIFO, which means the last in, first out bin list. We can do like this. We allocate 3 trunks size 0x50 and free it by one. And we can see that the last trunk we free is in the top of trunk. So we use such heap function skills to control some trunks. First, we assign the empty table to the variable A and leak the address of the empty table. Then we assign the null value to the variable A and call the function collect garbages. Because we know that the empty table is not referenced anymore, so the empty table will be freeze by the collect garbages. After that, we allocate a string, a length whose length is 47, and in the heap, the 47 length will be allocate 0x50, which is equal to the empty table. So these structures will be allocated in the freed table. So up to now, we have already put our data in some trunks, and we already know where is our control trunk. The last question is where is the current PC? We are going to use heap function again. We know that every time we call a function, the Lua will try to initialize the environment and allocate some trunks, including const trunk, PC trunk. This is due in the function, load function. And the layout of PC trunk and const trunk has already discussed previously. We can see the size of per PC trunk PC is 8 byte, and the size of const is 16 byte. So because of the empty table is 0x15, so we assert the count of const equal to 4 and assert the count of instruction equal to 8 or 9. This is the function we constructed satisfied in these conditioners. And this is the bytecode after compared by Lua. We can find that in this function there are 4 consts, including 1, 2, string, and length. And in the right picture, we can see there are 9 OP code, which satisfies these 2 conditioners. So we can control some trunk like this. First, we allocate 4 empty table and freeze them by collect garbages. After we call a function, the Lua will try to allocate the PC trunk and the const trunk. Because of the const trunk and PC trunk equal to the size of the freed empty table, so the PC trunk and the const trunk will be allocated in the gap of the freed trunk. So we already know the PC trunk and the address of PC trunk and the const trunk, so we can also know the address of PC trunk and the const trunk. Then we have already solved these 3 questions. Where is our control some trunk and know where is our control trunk and where is the current PC. We can read arbitrary address like this. This is our construct functions, and we replace the first OP code of load k to the vulnerable OP code for prep. Because of for prep, it can jump to our arbitrary OP code, so it can jump to our untrusted bytecode. And in our untrusted bytecode, we can load K structures and jump it back to the original functions. And back to our constructed functions, we can see we return the length of the first structures. So we have already controlled the first variables. We can fake structures and fake string type structures. This is the definition of Lua string length. It asserts the type of the structures equal to Lua T string. So the whole process can be like this: replace the first load K to replace for prep and jump to our bytecode and load K fixed structures. In these fixed structures, the type of fixed structure is Lua T string, and the pointer pointed to our arbitrary address value. Then we jump back to our original functions. Because the original function returns the length of the first structures, so we can read arbitrary address by this process. Now we have already read arbitrary address, so we will try to discuss the arbitrary address write. Here we use the opcode set table to write arbitrary value into arbitrary address. The opcode set table was designed to set the index of table to the value. So here the index should be the distance between table base and the arbitrary address, and the value is our controlled value. To call set table successfully, we need to bypass the assertion in the set table. First is we need to assert the type of our fixed structures equal to Lua T table, and the second is assert the meta table as a valid pointer. So the process can be here. We can construct such a functions equal assert the count of const equal to 4 and assert the count of instructions equal to 8 or 9. This is our function constructed. There is a little difference here. We can see that the second parameter we have already replaced it to 0x414141. And we can replace like this. Replace the second parameter to the value we want to write, and replace the first opcode of our construct function to the for prep. The process is like this: for prep to jump to our bytecode, and in our bytecode we load a fake table. In this fake table, the type of this fake table is a Lua T table, and the pointer pointed to another fake trunk. In this fake trunk, the offset 0x80 is the meta table, which should be a valid pointer. And after that is the table entry, which should be the address we want to write. Then after load K, we use the opcode set table to set the index equal to the value and return the function. And the index and the value should be assigned to the const table. We know that in the Lua, the index starts from 1, not 0. So here, the first of the const table should be 1, and the value should be the value we control, we want to write. So the set table will try to help us to write arbitrary value to arbitrary address in this way. However, there is a disadvantage here. 2 bytes will be affected, because in the definition of the set table, set object, we can find that Lua will try to set the value of the structures as well as set the type of the structures. So which means that 2 bytes will be affected. However, it doesn't matter much here, and we do not need to worry about it. Up to now, we have already got arbitrary address read, arbitrary address write, and it is really easy to arbitrary code execute in the Ubuntu 6.04 without PID enabled. The process is like this: we can use arbitrary address read to leak the libc base and hijacking the GOT table such as get env and modify it to a system address in the library and call the os.getEnv. The parameter is being sh to got a shell like this. So we can use this way to got a code execute in Ubuntu 17.0.4. However, Ubuntu is not our final target. What we want is to exploit in Cisco ASA, and the things between truly different in Cisco ASA. First is Cisco ASA has a specific heap metadata. This is the layout of the heap metadata. From the 0 to 0x10 is the Linux heap metadata, and from 0x10 to 0x50 is the Cisco ASA metadata. This is very complicated, and there are so many pointed here. Luckily, there is a very important pointer which can help us to leak the address of EOF. It is allocate PC, which is pointed to the address in EOF. This can help us to bypass PIE later. However, because of the existence of Cisco specific heap metadata, so the size of empty table will change from 0x50 to 0x90, which means it changes from fast bin to small bin. The small bin will be consolidated if previous or next trunk are freed, and the small bin is very possible that small bin will be split to more small pieces. So, and in the Linux heap, in the Cisco ASA, the heap is very unstable. Thousands of malloc and free will be called after even a very simple HTTP request. And the heap feng shui scale is extremely hard because it's very unstable. Here we use a heap spray to spray all the heap feng shui continuous to each other, like this way. In the picture, we can find that we just use a while and a while loop and to assert all the heap feng shui continuous to each other. And how to bypass the protection in mechanism. Here this is the process. First, we leak address of the empty table, use toString, and after that we use arbitrary address read to read allocated PC in the heap to get address in the EOF. Then we leak the GOT table such as member set and calculate the base of library. After that, we leak the environment in the library base to get the stack base. So up to now, we have already got the heap address, EOF address, and the library address, as well as the stack address. We nearly know everything. Then we need to think about how to pop a shell. The original way, like the system being SH, is never available here because of the Linux monitor. The Linux monitor will try to reboot the devices as well once any subprocess or sys calls are called. So here the solution is like we try to figure out how the Linux to execute shells, and we found that the Linux uses the function shell execute and pass several parameters to it, and we do as the Linux do, use the shell execute here. However, to call the shell execute, we need a ROP here. Another problem is the network. The network there are network constraints in Cisco ASA as mentioned previously. Here we use the function socks proc init. It is an outdated function. However, it is still useful to open a proxy in 1080 port, and this port can be used to transform traffic to outside, and it is not used by Cisco, but it is still in the Linux binary. However, to call the SOC pork init, we still need the ROP here. So how to ROP? We find that all the thread will return from pthread conditional timed wait. And here we already know the stack address, so we can do like this. We search in the stack to find the return address of the pthread conditional timed wait. And once we find the return address, we can pivot the stack to the heap to our control trunk, use guardrate like leave return. So the last things we need to consider is how to keep ASA stable after ROP. Because after a stack pivot, the current PC will point it to heap, and the Lena will absolutely turn down because RSA pointed to heap will not work. So the solution here is to pivot again. We pivot the original we save the original ISP, RIP, and RBP, and pivot the stack back from the heap to the stack. So the ASA can keep the stable. So the whole process is like this. We read arbitrary address, we write arbitrary address, use the heap function technique. After that, we leak EOF base, libc base, and stack base. The fourth step is we search the searching stack for the return address of pthread conditional wait. After that, we put our ROP in the heap or in our control trunk. The sixth step is we modify the RBP to the ROP address and modify the return address to the guardrate like leave return. Here, after that, we wait any process to trigger the leave return. It will always take about 5 to 10 seconds. In our ROP, we will try to call the SeasCoASA proc init. This is to open the port we need, and after that, we will try to call the shell execute in the ROP, and the parameter is to reverse a shell in the port opened by the SeasCoASA proc init. After we reverse the shell, we pivot the stack back from the heap to stack, and the ASA will keep stable. This is the whole process. Then we get a root shell from ASA. This is the demo. We can see that we're listening on a port 4444, and it will pop a root shell out. So the final thing is how to patch. Anyway, patch is very simple here. We just disable the load string of Lua bytecode, and it will be safe because none of these things will work. So thank you very much. Any questions?
Yes, thank you very much. So are there any questions? No questions? Okay, thank you very much again then.
Thank you.
And